Is the United States committed to emphasizing the centrality of Kashmir voices in determining the future of the Jammu and Kashmiri people?
I would disagree with the characterization that we don't have a values-based relationship with the government of Prime Minister Modi. And I would just underscore that Prime Minister Modi came in a consecutive term. He achieved a majority vote in a very diverse
we can agree to disagree on that. I just would like to understand if we are going to centralize the voices of the Kashmiri and...
But just to provide context, I mean, the actions he took were approved in Parliament, including by members of the opposition. The Supreme Court is reviewing that decision. The High Court...
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're getting into a moment of political drama that's been stuck in my head ever since I saw it. You all know Representative Ilhan Omar, and let's be honest, she's not exactly a fan favorite with a lot of people watching this channel. She's had her share of controversy over the years, from the "some people did something" remark about 9/11 to the "all about the Benjamins" tweet that sparked backlash, even from members of her own party, over accusations of anti-Semitic tropes. Critics often say she approaches foreign policy less like a policymaker and more like someone airing personal frustrations, but today's clip is about her questioning Ambassador Alice Wells, someone widely regarded as a seasoned and disciplined diplomat. In this exchange, Omar attempts to frame India as an oppressive state, using strong language to criticize its policies. Meanwhile, Wells remains calm and composed, listening carefully and waiting for the right moment to respond. Omar pushes her argument further, drawing comparisons between India's citizenship laws and extreme humanitarian crises. It's a bold comparison, and one that immediately raises eyebrows. Take a look at this moment and see what you think about how both sides handled it.
I led a letter to Ambassador Juster and Jones with you CC'd on it on the situation of Kashmir. Our partnership with India is strategic, but it's also based on our shared values of democracy, religious pluralism, and the respect of human rights. Under Modi and the BJP government, all of these mutual values have been threatened. And I think we have to understand the situation in Kashmir as part of an overall Hindu nationalism project of the BJP. So my first question to you is about the right of self-determination. Is the United States committed to emphasizing the centrality of Kashmir voices in determining the future of the Jammu and Kashmiri people?
I would disagree with the characterization that we don't have a values-based relationship with the government of Prime Minister Modi. And I would just underscore that Prime Minister Modi came in a consecutive term. He achieved a majority vote in a very diverse
we can agree to disagree on that. I just would like to understand if we are going to centralize the voices of the Kashmiri and...
But just to provide context, I mean, the actions he took were approved in Parliament, including by members of the opposition. The Supreme Court is reviewing that decision. The High Court is reviewing habeas corpus petitions. The institutions of India's democracy are working. We absolutely believe that Kashmiri's voice needs to be heard, that in any restoration, when there is restoration of a of an assembly, when there are state assembly elections, that's the way for Kashmiris to be able to register their views, also in peaceful assembly. And so I think the concern over the restrictions on movement and what we've seen over the last 78 days is that ability to protest peacefully has been difficult for Kashmiris to exercise.
Yeah. I mean, and the part of the reason I asked and the part of the reason I emphasized the context of the larger BJP project is because I think in both cases, the impunity we have seen for crimes against Muslims under the BJP was warming for such worse things to come. In Assam, almost 2 million people are being asked to affirmably approve their citizenship. As my colleague and the chairman said, there have been official statements to the effect that no Buddhist, Christian, Sikh, or Jain refugees need to worry about their status. And so this is a clear anti-Muslim program. And I'm sure you've seen the same reports that the Indian government is starting to build camps in Assam presumably to hold those who are unable to prove their citizenship. This is how the Rohingya genocide started. At what point do we no longer share values with India? Are we waiting for the Muslims in Assam to be put in those camps?
The certification of citizenship in Assam dates to a 2013 Supreme Court ruling that ordered the government to do so, to address questions of illegal immigration. The process, which continues to unfold and continues to be challenged in the court, it now has 1.9 million people who have not been certified. And that includes both Muslims and Hindus. There are 300 appeal panels that are being set up for those individuals to appeal this determination. And as my colleague stated, we're concerned that many of these individuals who may not have the wealth or the education to successfully be able to document their citizenship are vulnerable. We will continue to watch this very closely, but I would stress that the appeal process is still open. The judicial process is still working in India. And as a democracy, we respect other democracies' abilities to self-police and self-regulate. And so this process is underway. Our voices have been heard. Your voice is going to be heard. Obviously, there's international attention focused on this national citizens.
Place is unbelievable. Did you catch that? What we just watched was a striking example of how a tense congressional exchange can unfold. Ambassador Alice Wells showed a very measured approach while being questioned by Representative Ilhan Omar, and it's worth taking a closer look at how it all played out. Let's start with Omar's line of questioning. She brought up themes of shared values, democracy, and human rights, which are common topics in foreign policy discussions. Critics, however, often point out that Omar herself has faced backlash in the past over controversial remarks, making moments like this especially politically charged. What stood out most was the comparison she raised between the citizenship verification process in Assam, India, and far more extreme humanitarian crises. Wells didn't react emotionally. Instead, she responded by pointing out that the process in question was initiated under the supervision of India's Supreme Court and involved people from multiple religious backgrounds. Wells' overall message seemed to emphasize that India, as a democracy, has its own judicial system and institutional framework to handle internal matters. She appeared focused on reinforcing the idea of respecting democratic processes while maintaining diplomatic balance. Meanwhile, Omar also referenced tensions in Kashmir, an issue that has long been sensitive both regionally and internationally. Supporters of Omar argue that raising such topics is part of congressional oversight, while critics believe the framing can sometimes come across as overly political. In the end, the exchange highlighted two very different approaches, Omar pressing hard with pointed comparisons, and Wells sticking closely to procedural facts and diplomatic language. Moments like this tend to divide opinion. Some viewers see Omar as asking tough but necessary questions. Others see Wells as demonstrating professionalism under pressure. What's your take on the exchange? Share your perspective. And if you enjoy breaking down major political moments like this, stay tuned for more discussions in the next video.